Kia ora and welcome to this episode of the Amateur Austenite. I'm Frances Duncan, author, Austenite life coach. Joining me as my co-host is the lovely Rachel Pilwa.
Hiya!
Austenite, book buyer and all-round nerd?
Yeah, pretty much.
Excellent. Today we're discussing chapter 16 of Emma by Jane Austen. Chapter 16 is basically Emma's aftermath for the proposal from Mr Elton. I don't think there's even any conversation in this one.
Oh, really? It's just her reflecting on the trauma she's just experienced.
It's just her thinking it all through.
This is her in front of a corkboard with red string being like, hang on, and I thought these things were leading here, and then she replaces the picture of Harriet with the picture of herself, and suddenly the whole picture makes sense of what he's been saying the whole time.
She's not happy about it, obviously. There's some self-recrimination. There's also a little bit of victim blaming, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting to just have just a kind of a thinky chapter. Nothing happens. She does go to bed and go to sleep.
Incredibly important.
Yeah.
Get some sleep, girl. You've had a big night.
So we have her that evening and then kind of the next day. At the end of the last chapter, we were talking about how she has to continue to be polite because her whole family's there and she has to be like, everything's fine, till she can go to her room and have the relief of quiet reflection. And then this chapter starts straight into the hair was curled and the maid sent away and Emma could sit down to think and be miserable. This is the first time she's had to herself all day, but also in there, she had to wait till the maid had left before she could actually
show any form of emotion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm happy, I'm fine, I had a really great time. You're curling my hair. Get out. I need to have a breakdown right now.
That's so hard.
Yeah, it's rough. We've spoken before about how lonely Emma must be and her lack of confidence of her level. And I feel like this scene, this moment, makes that super apparent. It was Miss Taylor's party. Mrs. Weston's party. It happened when she was leaving the party, so it's not like she can just go there and tell her. She's got no one at home she can talk to. And it's not like she can send a message to her friend Harriet to say, hey, this just happened and I need to talk about it.
Hey, yeah, your boyfriend just proposed to me.
Exactly. And it's not like she can talk to her father about it either.
No.
Emma suddenly just has this moment. She's going through this really difficult moment. This insane thing just happened to her, and she has no one to talk about it with.
Except herself. I mean, I like that Austen's given her the space that she needs.
Yeah.
Austen's done that and gone, well, she's got a lot to think through, so we're going to give her that space and let her think through all of this stuff. Every part of it brought pain and humiliation. Ouch! She realises she'd taken up the idea that he was interested in Harriet, and then made everything go back to that. As you say, Harriet was the central picture until she took it out and replaced it with hers and went, oh.
This makes more sense.
It makes her think worse of him. It sunk him, in her opinion, because she's not flattered. She's like, you don't actually love me. You use those words. You're just interested in my money. Maybe I gave him the wrong signals and that's why he thinks he had a chance. She loves me, therefore I should say that I love her, so I get to marry her.
So cringy and creepy. I understand why she's having this time, having to think about it, and actually putting these pieces together, because she has an idea in mind. She is so determined that that is what is actually right, and that is what should happen and is happening. But he actually was such a creep throughout not just the whole proposal, but the whole him trying to woo her, that I'm just she's putting these pieces together now and reflecting on how not bad of a person, but how just how ick he is. Yeah. And I'm just oh girl.
Because she was picking up on some of it earlier and thinking about it as his errors of judgment, of knowledge, of taste. Proof, among others, that he had not always lived in the best society. That he had a gentle address, but he didn't have true elegance. And she's like, yep, actually, he is proud, assuming, conceited, full of his own claims, and little concerned about the feelings of others. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate representation of him. I'm glad that you can now see that.
Yeah, she had her blinders on because she was so determined that she was right and wanting that for Harriet. But now that that's obviously not going to happen, she's kind of those rose-tinted glasses have come off. Oh, he is not the man I thought he was.
You know how guys get upset about women friend-zoning them or whatever, and the reverse of that is, I'm pretty sure that the woman would be upset that the only reason you're hanging out with them is because you think you might get to sleep with them. And that's this, and that's probably why it sunk her opinion of him. He only wanted to aggrandize and enrich himself.
And if Miss Woodhouse of Hartfield, the heiress of £30,000, was not quite so easily obtained as he fancied, he would soon try for Miss Somebody Else with 20 or 10. I love that she has had that realization, but it's also so depressing that it's like,
I'm not even a person.
Yeah, he is not seeing me, he is seeing my money. That actually anybody would do for him. Anyone with a bit of money would be as equally acceptable. Obviously, I'm first choice because I have the most money, but he doesn't actually want me. He wants what he can get from me.
This is one of the things that's being talked about a lot these days, that with some men, that is the narrative. They don't really care about who the woman is. They see them as an object of what they can get out of them.
Kind of harks back to, how a lot of people treated Mr. Darcy and Mr. Bingley.
Exactly.
And it does, I feel like, especially in Austen's time, not that it doesn't happen now, that it's the whole gold digger trope of like, you want to marry the richest person who's going to give you the best thing. And I feel like it happens a lot in Austen's work. I think the reason it feels different in this context though is that because it's a woman who's the wealthy one, the man, the man is the one who proposes. So if Mr. Darcy with his money didn't propose, like, these women can be throwing themselves at him, they can be trying to catch the big fish as it were, but if he doesn't propose, then they're not getting anything. But in Emma, she is the rich one. So she's not going to be the one proposing as the one with the greater power of wealth.
Yeah,
it's going to be someone else proposing
the
to
power's
her.
different though, because she's got more money, she's got the better standing in society, but he has the penis. That's always going to make him be of more importance than her. Yeah. His word will be listened to more than hers. And, as we were talking about in the previous chapter, it's threatening for her to be in an enclosed space with him, especially when he's angry. Mm-hmm. And I think that is part of the thing that makes it ickier. Yeah. And he has other ways to make money. She does not. When women are, I'm not saying it's a good choice to make, but in this time period, women marrying men for their money was a necessity to them. For women marrying rich, it's about them living a good, comfortable life and having more opportunity, whereas a man can make those opportunities for himself. Yeah. But for the man, it's not about being more comfortable, it's about gaining more power. Because a woman marrying rich isn't really gaining more power in her standing. Like, she gets a higher standing amongst other women, but she's still a woman compared to other men. But if he married rich, he suddenly becomes a lot more influential. Yeah, he is raising his power and diminishing hers because now she will be beneath him. And I think that he would be very like that. And she's right. He does drop to, he can't find someone with £20,000, even though he said there was that family of sisters, each with £20,000. He doesn't go for them. He marries Miss Augusta Hawkins, who has around £10,000. So we're like, maybe that's like 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. So he's come down a lot. Yeah. I'm sure we'll get to it when we do actually meet Mrs. Elton in a few chapters, but because he's obviously wanting Emma for her money, but that's not why he chooses Mrs. Elton, because she's got significantly less. I think that he actually meets her and is like, this woman is as equally disgusting personality as me, and we would be perfect together. Which is definitely not what he's thinking, but it's how I feel like the reader feels about it. It does feel like they're more of a team than he and Emma would have been. Oh, absolutely. Like he would have wanted to subjugate Emma, but... she wouldn't have let it. They'd be quarrelling all the time. Whereas although he and Mrs. Elton, in some of the adaptations, you see them arguing. I kind of feel like he and Mrs. Elton feel like more of a team. Like, we're going to show the world how great we are because we don't feel like we're very big. It's the common enemy. Emma is an enemy, the rest of the world's an enemy, and we have to band together to show how much better we are than everybody else because of that. And I wish Emma had given him a real smackdown that he's so well understanding the graduations of rank below him, i.e. Harriet, but blind to what rose above. She should have told him this. It's not all right for Harriet to look up to you, but it's all right for you to look up to me when I'm so much higher than you, man. Yeah, it would have been great for her to be like, oh, you don't want Harriet because she's so beneath you. Well, why would I want you when you're so beneath me? Exactly. And I'd be like, oh, and like if that had been said to him in person, we would all be standing up and applauding. We'd all be like, yes, girl. Yes, you smashed it out of the park. 10 out of 10. Oh, like one of the things of a woman saying, I'm not taking this from a guy I lowered my standards for.
Yeah.
He only has alliances in trade. He's been here 2 years. And when we say alliances in trade, it could mean that he's only got friends in trade, like his friend Mr. Cole. He goes on and on about his friend Mr. Cole, right? But it could also mean that his family is in trade. So maybe he's not a gentleman being a clergyman. Maybe he's not like a second or third son.
Maybe he is someone who went into the clergy to rise.
Yeah, maybe that's one of the ways to rise out of trade, become a clergyman.
It's a more respectable position, especially because it's one that you could, a merchant's son could become part of the clergy, but then a gentleman's son can also become part of the clergy. So it's like really hard to tell who's who when.
Well, that's the thing. Anyone who's got a job of any kind, military too, you know, they could be gentlemen's families. They could be from trades family, right?
Yeah.
Although more likely if it's army that they're gentlemen's families, I think, because you can pay for that. Whereas navy, you raise up the ranks. Yeah. Based on, well, in theory.
In theory, yeah.
Based on how good you are at it. We get to know a little bit more about Emma's family history. Woodhouses have been settled for several generations at Hartfield. So it hadn't been a long, long time necessarily. And they're a younger branch of an ancient family. And the Eltons were nobody. So it does sound a little bit like, we are landed gentry. We come from landed gentry. But this house is a little bit new in the landed gentry, maybe just a couple of generations. So,
well, I mean, even if it's a couple of generations, that's what, like 200 years or less?
A couple of generations. So you and your mother are two generations.
Okay.
Yeah, so then your grandmother would be 3 generations.
3 generations. So that's like 100, nearly. Well, it depends on how long people live for in this time.
Wow, that varies a lot. High mortality rate for children and childbirth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is it on her mother's side or her father's side? Because her father was older.
Well, we're going to assume it's her father's side because she talks about the Woodhouses.
But if you say, like, it's her father, and her father was quite old when she was born, and then say his father
you're thinking
had been
the age of how long they've been there.
Like how old how older he was when his father, like when his father had him. So it's like, really, you could be going back a bit further if you're talking about it from the man's side. In my family, we've got books on like my mother's side of the family and like when all the generations were and stuff like that. But on my dad's side, it's like, well, we don't even know. Like when we were in Mauritius and we kind of figured out that my dad highly likely has some Indian indentured servant, like who came from India over to Mauritius. Definitely wasn't my dad's grandfather. It could have been his father or his father's father, or how many generations back is that? Because we know the rough time period that was happening in. But it's like there could have been, depending on how old people were, it could be anywhere from 4 generations back to like 8 generations back. And that's only within like a 100-year period, but it depends on like how old and young everybody was when that person was born. Like,
I mean, I assume they'd be able to tell by how much of their ancestry there was.
Yes, but it does also, because there was a lot of, depending on how far back you're going, you're getting a lot more ancestors. Because it's like 2, 4, 8, 16. So you could have multiple people with different, like...
not just one.
It's not just one. It could be like 4 on one side and 7 on the other. So it's really interesting. Anyway.
And thus ends our lecture on genealogy.
But that's why I feel like it's interesting to think about, because if it's so many generations, how long they've had the place for. Regardless of how long they've had it for, they're way better than Elton, Mr. Elton.
Well, they're not dicks to start with.
Yeah, well, Emma isn't, and her father isn't. Hopefully their ancestors weren't, but we don't know.
I mean, they've got money, so they may have done some nefarious things to get that money and treated some people badly. We don't know. Yeah. Hartfield is spoken of as like a notch off the Donwell property almost, which I'm like, has there been intermarrying in that family already at some point long time ago?
That's true, because they're neighbours and it would have been likely.
And someone went, hey, we'll just parcel off this little bit of land for one of my kids.
If they were like part of like, you know, an old ancestral family and then part of it's broken off for the new family, that would make so much sense.
But it mentions that they don't have a lot of land at Hartfield, but they've got a lot of money coming from other areas, but it's never explained where that money comes from, so we don't know.
There were a lot of suspicious ways to make money in these days.
Slavery. She is grateful to Mr. John Knightley for bringing it to her attention. Those brothers had penetration. I'm like, I don't know if she knows any other intelligent men. Mr. Weston is
true.
nice, but he's not sharp.
No.
I don't think she knows any intelligent men other than the Knightley brothers.
I'm going through the Rolodex in my brain of the male characters of Emma, and I'm like, no, genuinely, it's just the two of them, who I think you could genuinely call intelligent. I mean, like, her dad's not dumb, but he is himself, and he doesn't have a lot of sense.
He does have sensibility.
No sense, but sensibility.
You know, and Emma's like, well, she comes to the conclusion that if she can misinterpret him, it makes sense that he would then misinterpret her. And she's like, with his self-interest to blind him. But she's not thinking about her self-interest as well. Who doesn't want the popular girl to have a crush on them?
Mm-hmm.
But her self-interest is she wants to see, as she's realised earlier, she wants to see that he's in love with Harriet because she wants to set up her friend in a position where she can stay in her life.
Mm-hmm. She misinterpreted his feelings specifically because she wanted to have that for Harriet and to have Harriet with her because it would be acceptable. But I feel like it's all just bad communication. She talks about Mr. Elton's misinterpreting, Emma's misinterpreting, but not Harriet's misinterpretation. But Harriet's misinterpretation is more forced by Emma. It's Emma's misinterpretation forced on Harriet.
Yeah, she even says that she'd actually talked Harriet into being attached to him. And then almost immediately she's like, well, I did the right thing by getting her to not marry Mr. Martin. That was totally the right thing, and I should have just left it there. Maybe I could get her to marry William Cox. No, I just said I'm not going to do this anymore.
Honestly, Emma, take a break. Think about it. Stop what you're doing. It frustrates me that, because we've discussed the virtues of Mr. Martin before. We love Mr. Martin. He's fantastic. Right. He's so lovely. I think he would, like, he's not of Emma's acquaintance, but I would call him an intelligent man.
That's true. Yeah.
But I feel like...
Mr. Knightley does.
Yeah.
He says he's an intelligent farmer.
Yeah. She is just, again, so blind by her own misinterpretation of Mr. Martin, his character, his standing, that she is still pleased with herself for getting him out of Harriet's life, or as much as she thinks she has.
And she's just made stuff so messy for everybody involved. And she talks about it in this chapter and in the next one, that they're all kind of stuck near each other. They cannot get away, the three of them. But it snowed, so thankfully they're snowed in. So she doesn't have to go and see him at church at Christmas.
She doesn't have to go anywhere. Oh no.
And he doesn't have to keep coming to the house. There's an excuse because it's been snowing. That's super convenient.
Why does it never snow here in Wellington and I can use that excuse not to go to places?
You're a grown up. You're allowed to say no.
Oh, that's so hard.
I know. But
it's the wind. I can't go out.
She does stay in contact with Harriet by note, and obviously she's not going to tell Harriet about this over note. She wants to wait and do it in person, which... good. But the fact that she's stuck at home and Harriet's stuck at home, they're still able to have a conversation via note means that the servants are going out in the snow.
I feel so bad. I was just saying, I'm like, that is so awful. I want to talk to my friend. You have to go and deliver this letter in this freezing fucking cold weather. I mean, I'm sure there's like the postal service, whatever that would be, of like, you know, getting a message down to someone else across the country. I'm sure all those things would be working, but I'm also just like, hey guys, let's think about these things and say, no. Also, it's Christmas. Let them be warm in Christmas.
Mr. Knightley is not kept away by the weather, though.
Nothing can stop him. He's the Terminator.
And none of them have ever stopped to look at it and go, Although, to be fair, his brother and sister-in-law and their kids are still there. It's a good excuse.
Yeah.
It's a really good excuse.
I really want to go visit my family and friends. I don't want to be alone in my cold house. I'll walk through the snow.
The Knightleys are stuck there for a couple of days, but Mr. John Knightley's in a much better mood because he doesn't have to leave the house.
He's such a mood.
Emma's got this, underlying anxiety, which I fully recognise. Because there's an evil hanging over her that she's still got to talk to Harriet. So she can never be perfectly at ease. And I'm like, I feel that so deeply. That's why I deal with things as soon as I can. Because the anxiety will just drive me nuts.
Yeah, don't let it fester. Deal with it. I'm not good at that. But I'm glad Emma is going to hopefully figure this out very soon.
There is one line of speech. Mr. Woodhouse says to Mr. Knightley, Why do you not stay at home like poor Mr. Elton? Completely unaware of, obviously, what's going on. That Mr. Knightley wants to be there because Emma's there and his family's there. And Mr. Elton doesn't want to be there because Emma's there.
She humiliated me. I can never show my face again. Oh no, so sad. That's such a shame.
I hate her so much. You were just saying that you loved her, man?
If it was real love, you would still want to see her.
Rejection sucks, but if you really care about someone, you want them to be happy, and if you're not the one to do that, yeah, sad.
But I think that obviously shows, because Mr. Elton doesn't want Emma to be happy, that he obviously doesn't love her. He loves the thought of what she could have given him. Obviously, we know that Mr. Knightley loves Emma. Emma doesn't know that yet, but his actions are proving that yes, he does, and Mr. Elton's actions are proving, yeah, he really doesn't give a shit about you as a person specifically.
And on that lovely note, this has been our discussion of Chapter 16 of Emma by Jane Austen. I'm Frances Duncan. This has been Rachel Pilwer.
Bye!
Thanks for listening. We wish you happy reading. Okay, I'm going to cut that whole thing so I don't sound like an idiot.